All right, 5 o'clock. I'd like to start the meeting. We'll start the meeting with approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
No, we don't have any.
I thought you put them out right away.
I did not. No.
You sent minutes for November 23rd.
Right, but we met on the 30th.
And we approved them, but we didn't get the 30th minutes, is what you're saying. I apologize. I just expect them now. This is great expectations. Mayor, do you have anything for the Finance Committee other than what's on the agenda?
No.
Okay, let's get right into the supplemental appropriation. Mayor and Chief, this I assume is catching up on the budget where these funds were short given our budget uncertainty, similar to the fire department. Anything special that we need to know about this? Either one of you can answer.
I'll defer to the chief.
Yes, that's accurate. It was a matter of balancing, balanced budget. So we had some shortfalls, which is not uncommon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jen. How are you? Jen, I don't know how hard it is for you to look these up, but can you tell me what? I'm sorry, I keep screwing up. Give me a second, will you? I want to fix my screen. All right. Police base pay, police education incentive. They currently have certain figures in them for their budgets. I should have called you and asked you. I just wanted to know what they were before we add these items. Do you know?
Get that for you.
Do I need to share that with you so you can see what the account numbers are?
I can tell you what the shortfall was, Dan, if that's what you're asking.
Well, this looks like the shortfall, right?
Yes.
Couldn't we, I mean.
I don't know if we need it. It's all right. Peg, go ahead.
I think we're making this more complicated than it needs to be. Chief, the one that I just want to know, what does the educational incentive mean, and what is the sick leave buyback? I understand they're contractual, so they're in your contract, but what is the educational incentive?
Okay, so the educational incentive is a percentage of the officer's salary based on what degree they have. By way of example, if you have a master's degree, you get 25% of your pay. A bachelor's degree is 20%, and if you have an associate's, it's 10%.
And is that every year? So once you attain a bachelor's degree, your pay is that you get that additional thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly right. It continues into retirement as part of your base pay as well.
Oh, okay. It becomes the base.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And as for the second question, Madam President, the sick leave buyback, so number 2, that is for Captain Patnell's retirement buyout. So he's contractually entitled, we have to pay him his sick time back, unused vacation, compensatory time. And we run into this, and it's difficult to budget for. For example, I have 2 officers that I believe are going to retire this coming year, but they could decide not to. So it's very difficult to budget. So that's why we will wind up back at the Council for Appropriations, because you can't time these things.
And one more question, if I may, Chair Rist.
No.
Jen, you're on the hot seat, Jen. So when and Chief, so when you have people that are potentially retiring or potentially going after more education or that kind of stuff, Jen, do you and Mayor, do you like pro forma that, like put like a best case, worst case, like if these 3 people in fact do get their master's degree and these 2 people retire, it's going to be this much to the budget. If they don't, it'll be 0, but it might be somewhere between 0 and this number. Do you put that like in your back pocket? Do you know about it? How does that work from a planning perspective?
I don't think about it.
Okay. You don't know about it?
I don't, even if I know, I don't think about it. There's just too many variables of what could happen. And I, Chief and Jen, I certainly, but there's not any way I can spin it to say I put it in my back pocket. Nope.
Chief? Oh, I'm not the chair.
Chief,
sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Tim. One thing, you mentioned the retirement part, but once they retire, that goes to retirement, so it doesn't come out of our budget. It goes to retirement. And you're right. It can be difficult to plan. I'll know ahead of time when an officer is enrolled in classes for college, in what degree they have. Mm-hmm. But I won't necessarily know when they're going to finish it to plan budget. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Right. Makes sense. Thank you.
Chief, one more, an obvious thing. This is all based on our collective bargaining contract, correct?
Yes.
That includes the sick leave buyback and unused vacation for Chris, because that's part of the contract. When someone retires, they get that.
Yes, that's correct. And
if we weren't to pass, go ahead, Chief, you were saying?
No, I was just going to say, in my career, I've been before the council on this very topic almost every time somebody retires. Actually, every time somebody retires, because it's just so difficult to budget for.
And if this wasn't approved or put forward, you would be in a bad shape, because you'd have to steal money from other accounts, which would mean eventually we would have personnel issues, maybe layoffs. I mean, obviously this contractual obligations are fixed. We can't change that until the next collective bargaining agreement, which I doubt they'd go away. But my point is, the contract is a done deal. We can't do anything about that. So we do have the right to say no to this, but the consequences would be severe, shall we say.
Yeah, we would have grave personnel issues.
Okay. Councilor Khan.
And I do want to put on the table that anyone watching this, that we gave, depending upon your perspective, we gave a significant increase to the fire department for their educational incentive. So this is not something that's a one-off or out of the blue. These happen with the union contracts, and we are obligated to honor that. And so I think that's what this is, quite honestly.
And just to clarify that too, this isn't a new contract appropriation, which the fire contract was. This is based on a contract that was approved, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? Yeah. So this is old contract, but has to be completed every year. Jen.
Kind of going back to what you were asking about the buyback, what was budgeted, and I'm sorry, the other one was incentive, right?
Yeah, I'm just curious. It's not critical, but
yeah, the buyback wasn't. There was nothing budgeted for the buyback, and that's kind of.
But you don't know when they're going to retire.
Exactly, and the thing is if we do, say we budget that, some of the sick leave buyback or vacation buyback is significant, and so if we have money sitting in that line item, just in case he retires or she retires, then that's money that can't be used elsewhere. So it's kind of one of those things where, you weigh the options, like, well, if they retire, we're going to owe that, but who knows how much vacation time they're going to use between now and then. And who knows, maybe they don't want the payout. Maybe they're going to take the last 3 months of their detail off. I don't know. You know what I mean? So there's so many moving parts to this that, unless it's someone who's given a concrete retirement date and it's, shortly after the year, the new fiscal year starts. That would really be the only way that we could predict it. to some degree, but we start doing the budget in now. So.
But you bring up a good point. You can't predict that. And putting a lot of money in there means it can't be used elsewhere.
Right.
And eventually, if it's not used, it just becomes free cash for the next year. Whereas you've shorted someone else's budget by putting money in an account you're not sure you're going to use.
Right.
Omar, do you have any questions, sir?
Well, I do not have any question, but I want to say that I think this appropriation is needed. We have to do it. If we don't do it, I think the chief was clear. Good thing that we had the money, because we didn't have the money. Then they have to use the money from his budget, and probably he have to do something with the personnel or take money from something else. I think it's something that we have to do. It's clear that we have to do it, and I'm glad that we have the money to pay, so that way no one can suffer.
Good. Anybody else? Mayor, anybody? Any other comments?
I have a fun fact for you.
We only like fun facts, no fake facts, just fun ones.
With regard to the buyout, the only way, because of the moving parts and the variables, the only way that we could budget for it concretely is if one of my officers was going to hit his 65th birthday, because then they're mandatory retirement.
Okay. All right.
Time.
Good point. Anybody else? Then I'll take a motion to approve 112, 193.67.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve a supplemental appropriation of 112, 193.67, 112,193.67 from free cash for various contractual requirements of the budget for the police budget. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Councillor Coniff?
Aye.
Councillor Gomez?
Aye.
And I, Dan Riss says aye. I have nothing else. Val didn't come. I was going to ask her about the recent report, but I think you all got that. Is that correct?
Yep.
You got that? It looks like our revenues are on pace. She wasn't real concerned. Mayor, do you have any concerns about that last financial report, if you read it?
Yeah, I read it. The receipts are surprising. I mean, in a good way. And I wonder, I guess my big concern is January, February, March, what happens then with numbers and whatnot. I think I did. I sent that budget letter out, directions to the departments, asking everyone to do a 2.5% decrease from what they spent last year, and to not rely on layoffs to hit that request. And I will just say, by looking at the revenues and what we've seen, and more interestingly, what we haven't seen, my intent is to have a very bare bones budget walking in, and holding things tight, holding our breath on FEMA reimbursement, but also looking to patch holes in the budget with grants and cannabis money and maybe some free cash, a little more free cash, but very purposely. So I guess the short of it is, in the coming year, in the coming fiscal year, you all will see me way more asking for money and appropriations than you normally do. I need the tightest budget possible, and if we have to hold on to every penny or spend it out of a stabilization account, okay, we're going to do that. But I want budgets that are bare bones from each of the departments, so we're not coming back for basic functions. So. Here comes Val.
Hi, Val. We're just about to finish up.
Dan.
Oh. Val, can you hear me? Hello, Val. Your video's off.
Hi.
I just wanted to tell you.
Sorry, I just came in. I was working and totally lost track of the time.
That's okay. We were talking about your fiscal report, and the mayor was saying the revenues look good now, but she was concerned for the spring, and you seem to indicate that there are some question marks, but a lot of the revenues are on pace to be where they should be. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, we don't know what's going to happen this spring. You know, if a vaccine comes out and things start to turn around, we might be in great shape, you know. But if things continue to go down, we may be okay, because on the tax recap, we had like 286,000 in new growth or something like that, and we had estimated 100,000. And I think the state revenue came in a bit higher than we had originally estimated. So I was able to lower the estimates on the local receipts a little more on the tax recap, quite a bit more. So that means we won't have to collect as much to meet our revenue. So it should help a lot as far as, you know, supporting our budget and maybe even getting some free cash. But we really won't know until we see what happens with the COVID.
Okay, that's basically what the mayor said. All right. So the last thing I wanted to talk to the finance committee about is, I know we're getting some appropriations in the next packet tomorrow. We could meet on Wednesday the 23rd or Wednesday the 30th to keep our Wednesday meetings, but there's a lot of free dates in there. So which date would you guys prefer? You guys have your calendars in front of you? The 23rd and the 30th, they're not like New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve, but I don't mind those dates. If it's
I'm okay with both.
Pardon me? Pardon me? No,
I'm okay with both.
you two,
Yeah, I'm fine.
why don't we do the 30th to give us a week off?
Sure.
Is that okay with you guys?
Yep.
5 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, well, Mayor, do you know how many appropriations are we getting? I heard we were getting some DPW ones. Do you know how many we're getting?
No.
Okay. I know we're getting one from the CPA, but it's small. Okay. Let's do the 30th, if that's all right with my colleagues.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So the 30th at 5 o'clock for Val and Jen and the mayor. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you all.
Motion
Move to adjourn, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Did
I
you
made a
just
motion to adjourn.
Okay.
second?
We have a motion to adjourn. Councilor Coniff,
Aye.
Councilor Gomez,
Aye.
and I say aye. Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.